Network, Video Game Network. Oh, Rich is totally out of frame. What do you know? Hey, we brought this guy today. Look at this guy.
Cameo.
Look at this guy. We got a cameo.
I took Richie's spot. Here he is.
Oh no.
I'm right over here. It's cool.
Yeah, right. You guys got to get a little more snug. Space apartment is a little bit crowded.
Chris, can you scoot any more towards your right?
I probably could.
You probably can. You could also probably scoot back a little bit too. I intentionally gave you the raised seat so that if you ended up
I'll creep
there we
behind
go.
you guys.
All right, I gave you the raised seat so that you could, come up a little bit.
So, welcome everyone to Video Game Talk right here on the Video Game Network. The channel that you're subscribed to. If you're not subscribed to it, go ahead and subscribe. And then like this video right now. Go ahead and like this video right now. We got a lot of interesting things to talk about today, including the huge mistake that is Black Ops 4.
Richie's super down on it. He's
not
so
having
upset
a single player campaign.
about it.
And then Konami, we've been talking about it for weeks. Konami finally announced a new Konami finally announced a new Castlevania game, but it's for phones. Anyways, so let's start at the beginning here.
I'm glad DeKaland is here so that I can partake in his take on the matter. I can only imagine it's going to be negative, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe just any new Castlevania is good Castlevania.
Right.
So
you may have noticed we have a special guest today. It's Chris Muller. So if any of you are familiar with the Brachalverse channel, and most of you are, and if you're not, you should be.
I'm looking at the list of viewers right now, and I'm seeing pretty much all Brachalverse fans. So that's
all right. Well, you guys all know Chris plays
hello.
Luigi in Super Mario Bros.
Right.
So I am pissed. Really pissed.
And he's not going to take it anymore.
He said he's not going to take us laying down.
So,
he's mad as hell.
Man, after the atrocity that was EA's first Battlefront not having a single-player campaign, the one thing that they did do right in Battlefront 2 was to have a single-player campaign. Now, of course, there was a wealth of other problems with it, as we've talked about ad nauseum during the weeks. But having that single-player campaign at least got me into that game, and I played it, and it was great.
I spent more time on the single-player campaign.
What's really sad is that Black Ops has always been my favorite Call of Duty games because it has to do with conspiracies and all this, shady stuff that the CIA
also,
does.
some of objectively the best storytelling in the Call of Duty series has come out of the Black Ops sort of genre.
Right, so to take the story away from Black Ops, I'm just thinking, what makes it Black Ops then? It's just Call of Duty multiplayer now.
Right. Have they just sort of thrown in the towel and are like, yeah, we're a multiplayer game, whatever.
I mean, they're basically saying we're just giving it the Black Ops logo and the styles maybe, but if it doesn't have that story, that compelling, really intricate story, then what's the point? I say.
Well, you know what the point is. The point is that overwhelmingly their audience has favored, and most of their retention comes in the form of the multiplayer game. They've decided to double down on it, and that is the element that they will focus on. So, looking at the silver lining and trying to be positive up front, which I often do with these sort of things, and you often don't, is just the idea that, maybe a really, really regimented focus on the multiplayer experience will expand what we've come to experience from the very sort of approaching total stagnation of the Call of Duty multiplayer genre.
I disagree. I think that enough people are going to get pissed that even the people that may barely touch that single-player campaign will be like, oh, this game's getting kind of a bad stigma. I might stay away from it, wait for the next one.
Right, well, I mean...
I'm serious. However this thing plays out, there'll be a single-player campaign in the next Call of Duty. I don't know why they're trying to tempt fate here, but... Guys, it's not good.
I mean, who knows? Like I said, what if they come out and this is the best, most diverse, unique, compelling Call of Duty multiplayer experience that they've ever had?
Cool. Then call it Call of Duty Online or Call of Duty Battle Royale.
I was just about to say, because it's funny, because before we started this,
watch it have a Battle Royale mode.
I was going to say literally 2 words:
mode.
Battle Royale. They copy Fortnite and PUBG. It'll be the most popular Call of Duty of all time.
Maybe that's their secret project here, is that it's very loosely in the Black Ops thing, where it's the CIA has captured 100 people, and you got to get off the island.
Well, if it's following the genre, sort of, or where we are at in the Call of Duty Black Ops timeline, Black Ops 2 is in the future. And Black Ops 3 may yet be further in the future.
Now,
if we're following things linearly.
Last week we were talking about how this trend of Battle Royale, Fortnite, and PUBG, how that trend was, we thought, it'll probably last throughout 2019 and then die off. If Call of Duty gets on that, Call of Duty is very AAA and very big. If they get on the 100
this would
map,
be the biggest AAA sort of like title to get at the stamp of
that extends
like
the trend
Royale.
by 3-4 years.
I disagree. I disagree. If anything, it might burn it out earlier.
Oh.
It might, especially if it's not super satisfactory, because it's one of those things where it's like once I think I dare postulate that once like a AAA game comes into the fray and whatnot, and just everybody plays it into the ground,
It's not cool anymore.
it it loses a little bit of its novelty.
I want to point out that the Knife Stalker says that he's never even played Fortnite. Well, neither has most people that are playing Fortnite Battle Royale.
Right, yeah. Guess what? Yeah, me and Chris talked about this a lot before we went on stream, but just the idea that, like, Fortnite was a different game for a long time. Fortnite was a very, very, very distinctly, uniquely different game. And then guess what?
And that goes to show, because I've just been watching it from afar, I didn't even know. I assumed when you say Fortnite, I assumed that was it, but Garrett pointed out the distinction. There's a difference between Fortnite Battle Royale and Fortnite, which I think the casual player, sorry guys, I'm ratting myself out as a casual on some games. The casual player would think that Fortnite, it started as Battle Royale, but I didn't know it didn't. And apparently it did.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, no, there's a bit there. Yeah, there's a giant conversation about like what the status of the. I would almost say that if let's just say hypothetically Black Ops 4 comes out. Let's just say hypothetically.
Well, I mean, it's gonna come out.
I mean, well, let me finish my statement. Let's say it comes out, and let's say hypothetically it includes a battle royale mode, or it has something to kind of capitalize on this thing, even if it's not the sort of like 100 player large map confined.
200 players.
Yeah. That would be so nutty and stupid. I think $100 or 100 players is pretty pushing it already.
1,000 players,
right? The servers will weep. Yeah, I mean, we've seen so many technical issues emerge with really just keeping 100 players contained, and Fortnite's really the first game to like actually provide that experience relatively latency and like technical problem free. I don't know that anybody's going to be trying to push the technical bounds on that, because maintaining server operation, as we have seen with Battlefront, as we have seen with kind of the recent technical issues surrounding PUBG, that's a hard thing to do. And despite the fact that Activision's got Activision money, I don't know that they're really super ready to weigh in on, like, you know what, we're going to make a long-term commitment to an extended server farm that can support 100 players in a play mode consistently, or over 100 players in a play mode consistently for a long period of time, especially if it gets the kind of purchases that they're hoping.
Well,
but I digress. The idea being that, like, let's just say this comes out and this does have some sort of player, or just some sort of, like, Battle Royale mode, I think this will accelerate the demise of it. Because I think right now a lot of the novelty of it is the fact that we're continually seeing these things improve. We're continually seeing new entries into the, you know, we're still at a point where like, oh, there's a new twist. Oh, there's a new interesting thing. Oh, there's a new development there. And if a AAA title comes out and just like starts stomping all over this thing and everybody plays it, I think we will reach burnout factor a lot sooner.
Okay,
that being said, I don't know if there's a tremendous amount of evidence to support that any of this speculation about Black Ops 4 being anything to do with Battle Royale is true.
I mean, I'm just, like I was saying last week too, I'm just sad to see PUBG kind of get dethroned a little bit, because, I mean, you know...
I am and I'm not.
I mean, they started this, and I feel like we have 2 maps, and, you know, just not a whole lot of improvement.
I'm going to make a camera adjustment.
I was going to say... Just fast forward Richie 10 years ago. I'm sad to see MySpace get dethroned. We got HTML customization and music that plays in the background.
I was sad to see that.
Yeah, I think he was sad to see MySpace go.
I'm sad to see a lot of things go all the time. That is the trouble with life and getting older.
Yeah, right. And, you know, witnessing the world crap on things that you love. That's, you know.
I think Richie's put... Have you played Fortnite? Richie?
I've seen a lot of it. I have. I'm guilty of not actually playing it, but I've played a lot of PUBG.
Yeah.
And I love
he
that.
hasn't played Fortnite, so hence
I kind of refuse to get on Fortnite.
I've played comparable amounts of both. Fortnite is objectively better designed, but really, Fortnite in its current form would not exist without PUBG. I'm really fascinated in the interaction between these two forces, and I don't really know where the genre is going to line up. There's a very large conversation to be had that has been had on this channel before about like what credit does Fortnite deserve for capitalizing on and perfecting a design that another game came up with and all this sort of stuff. Meanwhile, here we've got an online-only shooter, once again making a foray coming from largely the biggest AAA shooter developer, and the question is going to be on, I mean, we've asked ourselves, but outside of is there going to be a Battle Royale mode, what else would you expect from Black Ops 4?
Well, here's my biggest gripe with this whole thing right now. I mean, as we've been talking, Disney is looking for a new licensor for Star Wars.
Right.
Because they're unhappy with the performance of EA and Battlefront. Battlefront already did their whole thing where they skipped a story mode and then had to put in the next one. Activision is on the top of the list of companies that Disney wants to take over the Star Wars license.
Yeah.
If they're, and I've been like, yeah, because they consistently put out a Call of Duty every year. They'd be great at making more than one Star Wars game every 3 years like EA has done. But if this is the direction that that Activision is going to start going, where they don't put story modes in their games either, I really don't want them to have the Star Wars license, because they're already proving to me that they are starting to fizzle out.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those things. There's not enough information. I don't want to condemn it just yet, but I am put out by this. I mean, you are going to really have to impress me with this, with the Black Ops 4 multiplayer sort of thing. Because honestly, if it comes out and Black Ops 4 does not have a single player campaign and fails to innovate on the experience that Call of Duty has multiplayer wise, then it is going to be shunned. It is not going to perform well. A few people will buy it to get in on kind of like, their necessary online shooter fix, and it will probably be a passable online shooter, but if it doesn't have a campaign, it's that kind of puts it behind on a PR basis already, don't you think?
I think it's all trash and it's all bad.
Yeah, that's good criticism, Richard. That's really thoughtful.
I am now 100% Team Bethesda for Star Wars license. They can make it happen. They're already working on a space game. If they get the Star Wars license now, they can turn that into a Star Wars game very easily. And
maybe with
easier
Bethesda
than you
magic.
think, because they're geniuses. And we could have a Bethesda licensed Star Wars game out next year. Please, universe, make it happen.
Right.
Please.
Well, you're off topic again.
I don't care. This is all related, because Activision deserves nothing now at this point.
Well, it's troubling because, we've already had the Star Wars license toyed with. We've already been through a lot of drama and the idea that, like, maybe EA hasn't been our favorite to hold these solitary...
Was EA ever anybody's favorite? When was EA even good in the 90s? I don't know.
EA was great at one point. Thank you very much. All right. EA was fantastic and produced some of the most objectively good, like... Back in the early, like, I'm talking in the electronics arts days.
Sure, yeah.
Like, when they really were, like, pushing an
Developing,
original... development phrase. Whatever, they're not that anymore. Okay, none of those people that were electronic arts are still on with the company, really. It's a totally different, hyper-commercialized version of these things, and a lot of the business is just functionally different. I'm fine with looking at them as two different things.
Cool.
Meanwhile, modern EA has our Star Wars license. And like I've said before, I'm fine with EA having the Star Wars license, but I take tremendous issue with them being the Star Wars license should have never been exclusive, especially exclusive to EA. It should have never been exclusive.
Bad decisions are just being made all over the place.
I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a big commercial, endeavor. There's going to be a lot of money there. A lot of people are going to be very concerned with and, capitalizing on the Star Wars cash cow, the greatest, most elaborate entertainment cash cow that exists these days. And exclusivity of license would be very lucrative. But it's just from an objective game design standpoint, back in the day, we got garbage Star Wars games. And then we got a few good ones. You know why? Because the license wasn't exclusive. There wasn't one company just shelling out a Star Wars game every once in a while, and we were just stuck with what it got. we got to like, oh, well, if you don't like this sort of thing, then you've got this other thing. Did you not like Pod Racer?
Exactly.
Great, you could double back on this.
But that
one.
was because of the fantastic publisher that was LucasArts, and they had everyone and their mom develop a Star Wars game.
Well, they were a great
EA's
publisher, but they weren't a great developer.
Perhaps not for the most
No.
part, but at least back then there was an in-house Lucasfilm publishing company that could distribute Star Wars games.
Right.
And now we have nothing. We just have EA, which barely does anything. If EA stepped it up and actually hired more developers, but see, they're like companies like DICE that they can kind of control. I think they really need to play a little bit more ball. And they're
They
not.
they like a tremendous amount of control to make sure that it fits kind of their commercial formulaic model. We
Honestly,
know that.
you know what?
On paper, that's not terrible, but obviously we saw that it didn't have tremendous success in Battlefront 2, and it is a little concerning that Activision, the main proprietor of this sort of thing, is releasing a online-only game. I'm hoping it's because, like, oh yeah, low-key, they've already started development on a Star Wars game, and all the people that they would allocate to a single-player game, or the single-player element of this game are working on this other project, but that's not super real-world. There's no reason that there's, like, that finite, like, of intellectual resources exists in that certain way. Game development doesn't work like that.
I think Capcom...
Stay in frame, Richard?
Sorry. Capcom would also be another good one. I feel like the people at Capcom would at least care about what they're putting out. I don't know. I mean, we could talk about that to death. The
Chris,
point is... Chris.
What do you think? What do you think? We've been talking a lot. You have not said a word.
You know what I think?
What do you think about this? What do you think about the Activision thing? What do you think about Black Ops 4? What do you think about the Star Wars license, I guess? Because everything in the show comes back to the Star Wars license, I guess. That's the thing that we talk about.
I've had one thought throughout this whole thing, which is kind of related. And I think it's this.
I want to hear
We need to bring back couch co-op.
There's been a big outcry for that recently.
I mean, we're going to get Smash Bros. Later this year.
We are.
So that's...
And I will say that Black Ops 4 having no campaign does by no means disqualify it from having couch co-op.
Do we know if it has couch co-op or not?
No,
I
don't
The last
see
couple have.
finally phased out couch co-op on the most recent Halo.
If they did have couch co-op, it would be in direct defiance
to the trend.
of their trend.
It's like a cell phone company putting a headphone jack on a phone. It'd be in direct defiance of what we want.
You can do couch co-op with 4 players as long as each player has their own Xbox and own TV.
And in their room.
Well,
they really want to get to a point where
make it not couch
as you
co-op.
might imagine,
Bring your own couch.
As you might imagine, a lot of major commercial developers, we saw this with the Xbox One controversy that emerged, when the Xbox One first came out, that like there's this huge push towards the idea of everybody owns a console, everybody owns a copy of the game, otherwise you do not play. Yeah. And then gone is the days of like where companies are content to let one friend buy a console and everybody just mobs on it.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I get it on a commercial basis. I get it on a purely economic basis. I get why the boardroom types would be really, really pushing for that reality. But I don't know if killing couch co-op was like the greatest thing. We grew up in the couch co-op days, so it's a little bit different. A lot of the people who are 20 and younger, which constitutes, roughly 30 to 40% of our audience, don't really have strong memories of a time when couch co-op was strong and multiplayer games meant sitting right next to the person you're playing with. That's kind of a trend of, dare I say, the late 90s, early 1000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
So that's whatever.
All right.
And it's interesting, the last thought on couch co-op, even Nintendo, the king of couch co-op, if you look at their recent games, we've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, where you can do 4-player couch co-op, but Splatoon 2, where you can't do any
no co-op.
You gotta have your own console, your own everything. So it's like, even Nintendo is slowly like, wait a minute, we could have people buy their own console and their own copy of the game, and they'll still play it? Bringing that sweet money.
Well, yeah, whatever.
So
anyway,
long as I miss couch co-op.
In the spirit of companies making horrible decisions, moving on, Konami has made the horrible decision to release their new Castlevania game.
Richie coming right out the gate with the most cynical version of the statement, but whatever, I'll let you finish.
Now listen,
I've
been waiting
just
so
go ahead
long.
and get it out.
Like, even the last couple of Castlevania... It's been a long time since they made a Castlevania game, but those last couple that they made, like, 5 or 6 years ago, were not really Castlevania games. I think Lords of Shadow was It was like God of War with a Castlevania skin. Let's be honest. So now
what are you talking,
this is gonna be.
Did you phase into Robert De Niro there for a second, a little bit?
Hey, you want Castlevania? Yeah. You want Castlevania? Hey, come here. No. Yeah, they're finally releasing a traditional Castlevania game, but for phones. I will say a positive thing about this is that, hey, speaking of co-op, you'll be able to play with 3 other people. You can do a 4-player co-op, and it can be 3 people anywhere in the world, which is kind of a cool idea.
That's neato.
But I don't really want that in my Castlevania, though. I like the single-player experience.
Why are we getting features in games that we want in other games, but not in the games that we want them? I don't know.
It finally is going to tell a new Castlevania story, which is dope, but like I was really impressed by the Castlevania anime that came out last year, and I hope that they bring that season 2 soon.
That they like
no release date yet for season 2, but that was just like
animation is extremely expensive. In fact, is objectively the most expensive production medium.
It only barely covered the beginning of Castlevania 3's story. I really think I was like, that's great. I love that. Let's go in that direction. Just forget about the games because you're never going to make a game better than Super Castlevania 4 anyway.
I like EDMG's comment in the chat. The like, Konami making a bad decision? I can't believe it. This is unheard of. What an unexpected twist. I don't know what to expect anymore. Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah, Konami has continued to make bad decisions for the last 2 or 3 years. You know, firing of Hideo and the firing of Hideo. That's pretty much the worst thing it ever did.
That's certainly the one fresh on everybody's minds.
But yeah, and, you know, we've been begging Konami for another Castlevania, but we were expecting something for like the PS4. You know, some huge AAA game, not this. Maybe this could just be Konami being Konami, like, oh, it's been a while. We need to see if people are still interested in Castlevania. But then that means they have to wait for this game to come out.
Testing the waters.
Yeah, and then it'll take another 5 years to come out. It's going to be like 7 years before we get a true Castlevania game.
It's obvious they've sort of, they've face planted on the last few, like, AAA releases, and have really, I don't know, I think a lot of their business decisions greatly point towards the idea that maybe they're not as interested in... They just like the big front stay like AAA games anymore.
Konami's really focusing on the casino games. Like
I know, and that makes me wonder that like maybe there was a conversation where they were like, "Is it time that we just ditch AAA gaming in general and take all of our intellectual property and dump it into this like potentially lucrative?"
Would have a word with that.
This like mobile games market, because it seems to me that a lot of companies that are already all in on casino games, the other big market for casino type games is the mobile environment.
Now understand, if that's what the higher ups at Konami want to do, I'm fine with that. But please sell the IPs of Castlevania and Metal Gear
not going to do that
to other companies who will make great games with them.
They're going to take every single piece of intellectual property that they own, regardless of their origin, and they're going to bring them to their new business model. That is what any economically savvy interest
do what I say.
That is what any economically savvy, sort of like our business-minded individual will do. Does it help gaming? Does the IP flourish as a result? Absolutely not. But like the commercial forces, especially, are really what's driving a lot of these decisions.
Scott points out that it's for iOS and so far for Japan only.
Right. They're testing the waters. They're testing the waters here.
Konami gonna drive me crazy.
I know. I don't know. You might not even see this game ever, which makes me wonder that there's not going to be a lot of interest in it. I don't know. But my feeling is if there is any kind of marketable success in the Castlevania iOS game, you will, 1, eventually see an international version, and 2, Konami will probably just go all in on mobile games after this.
Yes.
I don't think they have any interest in continuing their AAA development titles. I think they've separated from the company Hideo Kojima, which is their main trump card in the AAA main console gaming market. I think they've shown a ton of disinterest in this sort of thing in general, and I think Metal Gear Survive was just the last little nail in that coffin. I know, you're so mad about it, but I think they're going to double down and be like, any other casino company that is like our other platform for our games is the mobile market. Any other game, any other slot machine company, any other game making predominantly like choice or like microtransaction based games are marketing in the mobile development department. That's how they're doing it. So I would imagine they're going to do that, but Konami's going to be like, hey, we've got all these really popular EPs, all these really popular, totally unique to us intellectual property things in order to really pull people to this new thing. Castlevania is going to be the bait. They're going to jump, they're going to chum the waters with that. People are going to jump over. They're going to let the AAA flag sail. And then whether it's a success or not, we're going to see them forever gone from the AAA market, and maybe they'll take their EPs with them.
Chris, do you think that it would be beneficial at all for Konami to sell IPs to other companies? Not
beneficial to Richie?
Well, not just beneficial to me and other fans.
Beneficial to Konami? No.
Okay, so you think they will just milk that for forever?
Let me put it this way. It's like the Golden Goose. They could sell it, and they could get a little bit of money, and then, yes, objectively great games could be made again. But they are going to need some established brand to slap on that casino mobile free-to-play freemium drain all your money.
And to be fair, nothing that we've understood so far about this Castlevania release suggests that it is in any way a casino game. It sounds like a more traditional old-school Castlevania game.
See, here's the thing. 8 years ago, I would have never thought that any company would ever sell their own IPs for any reason at all other than bankruptcy or, be getting bought out.
Right.
We have one great example of this actually happening, of course, which is Lucasfilm.
Right.
George Lucas willingly sold Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all.
Which is a hell of an example.
Yeah. And all Lucasfilm IP, including Lucasfilm itself, to Disney.
Yeah.
So that's like the one good example we have, because Lucas realized that he was kind of at the end of his game and he wasn't really able to do what he wanted to do anymore in Star Wars, being as old as he was. I think he could have still cranked out a couple, but that's another conversation for a different show.
You just wish amidst the chaos of the current development cycle.
But Konami, of course, is a major company with a lot of people that are kind of cycling through those positions, so there's not one guy that makes the decisions at Konami. They have no reason to sell their IPs other than to make fans happy, which apparently is just nowhere on their list of priorities, unfortunately.
Why? Why would you sell your IP? Why would you?
I'm just saying if they don't plan to make really good third or AAA games anymore with those properties, why not sell so that others can enjoy those games for what they could be?
But how are they going to make money without?
That's like basically
buddy.
That's like me asking you, Rich, for an amount of money, would you sell the Rich Alvarez channel and understand that you could never ever reap the benefits of that fan base anymore?
How much money are we talking?
I know, right? Like that's really the question. Is there? I mean, but just there's the idea of like, would you? What at what kind of money is involved in a question like that, where you would even be able to recover a brand?
In this theoretical scenario, I'm dying of cancer. I've got 2 years to live. There's no way I'm making any more videos. Yeah, I'll sell.
Okay, cool. So you have to reach for a really exorbitant example.
That's
my example.
Now we're just praying for Rich to get cancer so Super Mario Brothers can happen again.
Yeah.
So be the same.
I know, but I'm not even talking about stupid Mario Brothers. I'm just talking about the roughly 200,000 people that who bear subscriptions to your content. If you could put a monetary price on that, like, what would you do? I think very similarly about the IPs of a lot of these other companies. You would literally be building up from zero.
It's tough. It's tough to say. But they could do what you want EA to do. They could license out those properties.
Correct.
And make 20% of whatever those games make. They could at least do that and have some other developer make those games.
Right.
Just Konami, as it is right now, cannot make a good game to save their life.
No, nor do I think they're interested in that. I think they would rather reap the 100% of the commercial benefits of a mediocre game than 20% of the commercial benefits of a fantastic game, because I think commercially those numbers are not. I think the former example is objectively a more lucrative agreement.
Right. Okay.
The idea of trying to make a mobile game in the hopes that it could succeed in some, and I've seen people in chat pointing out the idea that actually this Castlevania mobile game looks okay so far. Okay. It actually looks like it might be a passable Castlevania
except
game.
It's on a phone and I'll never play it.
It's on a phone and it's in Japan only, but the idea being that if we just isolate and cut the cake out to just this is what it is, then there's a game here that might be worth playing.
And here's a really good point to make. Not every kid has a PS4 or an Xbox One.
Well, there's the first mistake.
almost every kid has a smartphone.
Well, then they should make it for Steam, for Windows,
Not
Who's
every
got a
kid
who's
even
got
has a
yeah,
PC.
who's got PC?
A lot of kids.
Who
they have
games
a
on
phone,
PC? Says the PC
They have
gamer.
a phone, and maybe they have a Mac or an iPad.
Well,
So there's
they
a
should
new
fix that.
generation of kids that don't even have video game consoles. It's
Okay.
all smartphone. So we got old man
All right,
Grumpy
let's-
Richie here, who back in my day, everything was AAA and perfect, and times are changing, buddy.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was impossible to make a video game without, like, a regimented army of people that knew exactly what the heck they were doing. You didn't see too many games come out, and the ones that were bad were forgotten immediately. The ones that we venerate as the golden age of gaming completely exclude the awful history that was,
That's true.
like just the mediocre games of the console ages. Meanwhile, the indie development cycle is alive and well. We're getting more games than ever, and guess what? We're getting more bad games than ever also, because of just the numbers.
Yeah.
But we're also getting more good games than ever. We're just getting more games. More bad, more good, more everything. And the gaming market is super diversified right now. And is Konami's push to mobile, in my mind, a giant, like, unexpected twist? No, it's not.
So I'm laughing at some comments in here. And
I know,
guess
I'm
we'll just
laughing at
reference
them
just
too.
like,
I'm just still talking.
Marty, man, come on. he's like SMB has gone through 10 years. I think Richie should do. I think Richie should do other things.
You have to read up in chat a little bit to understand where that came from.
It's like, what do you call what you're watching right now?
Right now, we are doing different things.
Right now.
Also, watch our sketches.
And then he says he's watching the skits. That is exactly what we're doing right
Good.
now.
We're doing skits right now.
Oh my gentle Jesus! All right. So, anyways, let's continue.
You can always emulate on PC, says Gravedigger. Yeah, but
shit.
get in frame, Richard. That's how cameras work. I would say this: why should I have to emulate? That's kind of my question. I don't want to have to I don't want to have to upload to my computer a weird obscure program that someone made against the will of the developer in order to take a game that was intended for another platform and doesn't engage the full functionality of it onto a computer that I can run in a shell to try to get the experience that was meant for another platform. I don't like that. I understand it's an option, but I don't want to experience my games that way. I would like a PC version. And if you're an indie developer and a small, maybe even down to one-person team, and you're focused in on your market, I get it. Make your game, I'll emulate it, it's cool. But if you are a AAA company with large markets at your disposal and you think the PC market should be viable, you should be making a PC version of your game.
Yeah, like as DeKalen says, finding a good iOS emulator is a nightmare.
No, it's that they don't exist.
And
they exist, kind of.
Like, they've made mobile versions of games. Like, anytime on Steam, at least I found, where they take a mobile game and, port it to Steam, it usually ends up being kind of shoddy.
Yeah, they don't work. Literally memory allocation and the process of how computer resources are allocated through software means that you will never, ever, ever, ever get the proper experience on an emulator unless you're literally running a Game Boy Advanced emulator.
But I love EDMG's comment. Back in my day, we didn't have video games. We had to entertain ourselves by playing with rocks and outrunning cannibals. Where did you grow up?
EDMG kills it 100% of the time in the comments. I'm so glad he's around. So, and yes, to Marty Man's comment, Nintendo Switch emulators exist, and you know what?
They suck.
They don't work well! They don't! How many people do you know who's like, oh yeah, you know what I was doing the other day? Playing Breath of the Wild on a Switch emulator on a PC, and I had a great time. Nobody has ever said that. Because guess what? Switch doesn't run well on emulators. So neither does Mario Kart. Neither does any of these things. And even then, I don't know why you'd play Mario Kart in emulator, because then at that point, how are you going to engage with the Switch netcode? How are you going to participate in the multiplayer environment? You can't!
Fun fact, you're not!
You don't! You could participate maybe in the local co-op thing, but then what kind of controllers are you using? Are you using Switch controllers? How do you emulate those to be? It's that's too many hurdles. That's too much. That simply means that game is, unless I own a Switch, which I do, but let's say I didn't, Mario Kart would be off the shelf for me. I just wouldn't use it. And the exclusivity of these different platforms is on purpose. People don't want you to find a way to play something that belongs on a Nintendo product on a Sony product. This is the whole entire commercial crux of everything depends on this.
Right.
iOS and Castlevania by extension belongs in that same commercial threshold.
So what are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do?
What are we
We're
gonna
gonna bitch about it on the internet. That's what we do. But what should be done maybe is the better question. I don't know, because you have a few conflicting sort of like forces at work here. One, the commercial element. One that me and by extension Chris are very familiar with. The idea being that people make games to make money.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially these days, you see that force at kind of at conflict with the creative one, which is really just a conflict as old as time. Like, where's the art and where's the money? Like all this sort of stuff.
Game as old as time.
Da 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 da.
Emulators don't work. Make
Yeah.
a fucking PC version.
Right. Generally speaking, unless it's literally a Pokemon game, which can run pretty fluidly on an emulator, I'm not playing it on a PC emulator. I'm just not. It's
Which
not
brings
worth
me
it
to my next point. They should make Pokemon games for PC and make it happen.
Nintendo never going to do that.
I know
Why
they
would
never
they do
will,
that?
but they should.
Again, a question of
Right back to
commercial
the brand.
prevalence. Why would they do that? They have a perfectly good market in the form of the Switch, which they have yet to even touch into.
Yeah, I can't exactly throat scream right now, but if I could, it would be like in the key of like A++.
Yeah.
So, I can't. You do it. Can you do that today? Yeah,
That
that's
one?
how I feel right now.
Okay, cool. Well, you're welcome.
Damn.
Have y'all seen that? Have y'all seen the Friday the 13th sketch? Because I really nailed it in that
That
one.
was pretty intense. Good job.
That was a ton of fun to shoot. I appreciate that. I was in a weird mood that day.
T-Rex Garrett is
T-Rex
back.
Garrett is
That's
back.
right. That's what they were calling it.
So I don't know. I don't have a ton more to rant about on this, other than the fact that, like, in both cases, Richard, I'm going to insist that we wait and see.
Okay, we will wait and see. In the
But-
meantime, let's spend the next 10 minutes answering your live questions right here in the chat. And by the way, if you're watching this later when it's already post, go ahead and leave a comment in the comments section below. And no matter what, whether you're watching this now or then, give this video a thumbs up, because YouTube doesn't know how to recognize a good video unless it has 1,000 thumbs up. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah, sorry
algorithm?
guys. This isn't like we don't want to have to like whore ourselves out for thumbs up and stuff.
I want to whore myself out for thumbs up.
I mean, we don't want to. We wish this wasn't a necessary part of our day, but the algorithm is what it is. Like, I didn't pick it to be this way. I would love just to talk on the internet and have our content be the like primary basis of like why or whether or not we succeed, but it's not. It's arbitrary little button clicks.
Arbitrary little button clicks. That's the way of the future, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Anyway, thank you for participating in this whole YouTube dance with us. I'll go ahead and answer a question right out the gate from EDMG7, who says BTW Holly didn't actually break up with you. Did you? No, she is not.
Of course not.
I am still very much getting married to her in September.
I'm not that big
fine.
of an asshole. I wouldn't put that in the script if that really happened. It's like, well, you know, you just broke up with Holly.
Yeah, this is
That's
like
in the
this
video.
is, this
Sorry,
is the
dude.
way that the internet works. This is the way the internet finds out. It's like, you know how you just broke up with your fiance, the woman you were slated to marry? Like, would you be okay like working that into a sketch? And then counterpoint, I'm like, yeah, let's do it, man. I'm fine.
To be fair,
It's part of the healing process.
Yeah,
Richie
right.
did do that with Doug once, so I wouldn't put it past.
You know what? Yeah, maybe that would happen.
Well,
I
look,
wouldn't put it past Richie to pull
that-
that on a friend.
that was a little different because they broke up and then on screen I had them stay together. that was a little bit different.
It was actually one of them wanted to break up with the other, and Richie insisted that one of them not until a scene was completed. And we'll keep it at that.
Also really fun. I'd already written the script before I knew that they were breaking up, so it kind of like.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you think Richie would never do it, he would, because he did.
he might have.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've grown so much since then? Question mark. All right.
All right, here's one for y'all. Should Marvel Studios try to make a Marvel video game that contains or connects to the MCU?
They are. That's what. Remember, we got the.
They have.
It was last year. It was what was the company? I can't remember. There was a really cool Avengers trailer, and it was like coming 2020 or something, and it was Square Enix. I forgot. That's another thing that they've been putting by. You know, we talk a lot about Square Enix and how they can't make up their mind on when they're actually going to get started developing these things that have been in development for years. But
Yeah.
Another thing, do you remember that? It was like, it showed Cap's shield, it showed the Iron Man suit, and then it was like Square Enix. Yeah, they're making a huge MCU video game over at Square Enix, but they have not talked about it in a year and a half.
Yeah.
So
Phil's in. I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty boiling around that particular feeling.
they you know, as we've talked about.
I will say the first time I saw that Square Enix logo, the emotion that I felt was one of excitement.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh shit, this is interesting."
Yeah,
yeah.
because-
Here's a fascinating development.
Because of course we're assuming that the Square on Avengers means like a huge RPG Marvel game, you know?
Right, yeah, like, okay,
Hopefully.
here's a company that has put out in the past some very sprawling games with lots of gameplay and interconnectivity and all this sort of stuff, but like recent Square developments gives me an odd stomach feeling about that whole agreement.
Don't forget, this is the same. You're watching Video Game Talk, the same show where we've been bitching about Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Two games that
Have we complained about Kingdom Hearts 3 enough this month? Have we meet our quota?
Oh, I think we've met the quota, but let's keep going because they keep giving us info on Kingdom Hearts 3 except for a release date. And same thing with Final Fantasy 7. Where's that release date? And did you see the big news last week that we're like, we might be starting over on development on the FF7 remake? It's like, whoa, what? Anyway, so it's a mess over at Square. Not to mention Tetsuya Nomura, they pretty much have to clone the guy 5 times because he's being stretched so thin. He's the only capable director over there right now. He keeps jumping back and forth between
and he
games.
is a highly capable individual.
Oh, he's an excellent director.
He's one of the best
when he
at what
works
he does.
on one game.
But this idea that like one of the best directors in the world stretched between like 5, maybe 6 other projects, we have no idea what's even not being talked about. This is
Right.
just what's publicly known.
So
That's rough.
things have been really quiet, but remember, it's only a couple months till E3, ladies and gentlemen, and I have a feeling a lot of these companies are saving their biggest announcements for that time. We're gonna find out.
We are gonna do that. So
Just
that's
thinking
all
about all those announcements giving me some indigestion.
good. EDMG also following with, hopefully it doesn't disappoint me as much as Ultimate Alliance 2 did.
Oh.
To which I will just say, yeah, hopefully. Me too, man. I mean, we have yet to see a real big heavy hitter in the MCU universe as far as a game is concerned, with maybe the exception of some of the Spider-Man games.
Well, Spider-Man, although it's not set in the MCU, it does look like a very excellent Spider-Man game.
Spider-Man is Marvel, obviously, and it's not set in the current
MCU Spider-Man.
It's not the current universe per se.
Boy, oh boy, I mean, we were talking about this last week too. That's definitely one of my, out of the 5 games I'm looking forward to, that's one of them, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Hockey Song asking, did Valve confirm Half-Life 3?
No, never.
Not as far as I know.
Man, Valve, Valve can't count to 3. They were supposed to make Half-Life 2 Episode 3, and that never happened
I
either.
know, right? Well, that's because it became 3, and now, like, it's like, I don't know. Well,
Whatever.
Anyway, the idea, but the thing I was going to double back on for Hockey Song's sake was the idea being that, like, if Valve came out with an announcement tomorrow that, like, Half-Life 3 is in development, I would need so much evidence. The amount of, like, the hoax radar for that is so saturated and so convoluted at this point.
They should have announced it on April Fool's.
I mean, yeah, just the idea being that, like, Valve could come out, like, Gabe Newman himself could practically go on screen and be like, hello, yes, I am the head of Valve development, and I am currently making Half-Life 3. It is this, and this. I would literally double back and be like, is this one of those new deep AI, like, CGI renders that someone is using to perpetuate a Half-Life 3 hoax? Like, it would take so much information for me to be like, oh, okay, this is legit.
Right.
It would take so much information for me to do that.
Speaking of things that'll never happen, EDMG asks...
man, EDMG is killing it today with the questions.
Is there any word on the Halo movie? No,
there's none.
Spielberg, like, made that bogus announcement about 4 years ago that he was producing it. And remember, it was only a few years before that Peter Jackson said he was producing it. And then, he was supposed to give it to, what's his name? The District 9, I can never remember his name. District 9 director was supposed to direct it. That never happened, so District 9 director was going to direct an Alien movie before Ridley Scott decided he was going to make his own Alien prequels, and that all got messed up for him. And then Peter Jackson left the project completely and then gave it to Spielberg, and then Spielberg started working on the Tintin movies with Peter Jackson, which is also not making it past the first movie. And they got into an argument, and so nobody's working on the Halo movie right now. And yes, to retroactively answer iJosh's question, they did make a really shitty Halo movie straight to Netflix or something that was only like an hour long. It was barely a movie. It was really just an ad for Halo 5.
And that like that forward into the
forward into whatever,
forward into the breach or something.
Forward into I don't
Forward
remember.
into
Forward
Dawn.
into crappy commercialism.
I don't know. I actually thought that movie was okay.
No. We want a real Hollywood.
It was not what we wanted, but it was okay.
So here's the big mistake that Bungie. Can you believe Bungie was the one that announced it way back when Bungie owned Halo? No, Microsoft is making a big mistake by trying to be like, let's find Peter Jackson, let's find Spielberg. You gotta find like an up and coming guy, like what they did with Colin Trevorrow with Jurassic World. I love Colin Trevorrow. I love Jurassic World.
Hey Chris, what does that logo in the back say? Does it say Video Game Network?
No, I think it says Richie makes stuff up about movies if it feels like a network.
Okay, well, hear me out, because we're talking about Halo movie, all right? The problem is they really need to find... In fact, maybe they should just hire Colin Trevorrow since he's out of a job since he got fired from Episode 9. Because Colin Trevorrow was supposed to direct Star Wars Episode 9, and then he got fired because he had arguments with Rian Johnson, who then had arguments with J.J. Abrams, but it doesn't matter because J.J. is still taking over Episode 9. It doesn't matter. Colin Trevorrow should direct the Halo movie. You heard it here first. Colin Trevorrow should direct the Halo movie because he's a man who actually gives a shit about stuff. All right.
So we got a new question by Hockey Song. What is your opinion of Halo 4 and 5 getting back to video games? So what's interesting about Halo is that I didn't mention this earlier because I thought Richie was going to kill me.
Break.
So actually, making this go completely back on topic, you know how we were talking about Call of Duty having multiplayer only and not campaign mode? I am one of the gamers. That's the reason why I took the captain's chair. So they're asking about thoughts on Halo 4 and 5, and I was going to say, I'm one of those people that never played the campaign mode for Halo. I know it's terrible to say, and Matt Provenzel used to give me tons of shit for it. I played a ton of the online
Chris, you're contributing
matchmaking.
to the problem. You're the
so I was
reason
going to say, I'm the audience. I'm the reason. I was quiet the whole time because I didn't want to admit it, but I'm the reason. I'm the representative of the gamers that are only going to play a game to play online with their friends and not actually play the campaign because they just don't got no time for that shit.
Because Halo 1 through 3 had such amazing campaigns.
I've heard. Anyway, but as much of a Halo fan as I was, I stopped playing after Halo Reach. So I played a lot of Halo 1, a lot of Halo 2, a lot of Halo 3, a lot of Halo Reach. And then I played a little tiny bit of 4, and then I think, is it 5 where they got rid of couch co-op? So
listen,
anyway,
anything after Reach is shit.
Again, and it's because Bungie left to go make Destiny.
Sit your ass down.
No, I'm too riled now.
What are you?
Way too riled.
What are you riled about? We have a hot sauce show to film.
So much goes wrong over in big... Why? Just stop the world, please. Can we go back to 1998 when things were livable, please? All right.
Oh,
good.
okay. Things are not livable now.
No, they're not. Look at me. I'm a mess.
Hey, Richie, the fans want to bring it back to movies again. I'll allow it.
All right, I'll sit down.
So, Ready Player One.
Super dramatic.
Have you guys seen Ready Player One yet?
I still haven't seen Ready Player One.
Yet.
Oh, Chris has seen it.
I've seen it. I have not read the book. It's funny, actually. Doug Waluigi read the book and was giving me tons of shit for not reading the book first. Which I hear you should listen to the audiobook because Will Wheaton does the narration of it for Audible. Just saying, we're not sponsored. Want to be sponsored. Used to be sponsored maybe at one point. Anyway, Ready Player One was really good. I liked it. I have not read the book. I've heard the people who read the book were kind of but
it's a film adaptation.
It's pretty good.
If you are a big fan of the book, just go in knowing every single piece of information. I was like, Ready Player One is a good movie.
You know,
it suffers if you compare it, 1, to Steven Spielberg's consistent body of work.
That's true.
And 2, if you compare it to a direct adaptation of the book, which nearly every single film adaptation of a book suffers from.
Right.
But if you go in just looking for a fun movie, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, if you want pop culture references and like a good objective film, great. Go check it out.
Guys.
It's super.
Jurassic Park, written by Michael Crichton, is my favorite book of all time. Is the movie anything like it? Absolutely
no,
not.
It's not.
But the movie was so good that nobody cared.
It was so dope.
People were just like,
classic.
That is
I mean, still to this day, Jurassic Park remains the classic example of like what to do if you're going to base a movie on a book and then not follow the book.
Right. Or The Godfather. Just saying. Just putting that out. The Godfather, also based on an excellent book, became an excellent movie.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
You haven't seen The Godfather?
All right. 2 more questions. Let's answer 2 more questions, then we're gonna sign.
Yeah,
out.
right. Apparently, everybody
More
wants to talk
questions,
about movies.
everybody.
That's why we gotta stop.
Yeah, I know. So that's fine. I don't know. The
Another question.
I haven't seen The Godfather. Yeah, that's fine. Well, most of you are kind of young, so that's fine. It's kind of you're kind of past your days on that one, so that's all good. The what is it? I don't know. Oh, to Caitlin pointing out that old IGN Legend of Zelda movie that turned out to be April Fool's.
Oh, they got me on that one. That was like, jeez, that was
a while ago.
2007.
That was a while ago.
8?
Hey,
Yeah, that was a good
squish into frame, y'all. This is how cameras work.
Hockey Song says, "Do you think we are getting a Fallout 5?" Oh, I think we are definitely getting Fallout 5.
I don't think we're getting it anytime soon.
No, of course not. I think it'll be 2025 before it
we
comes out.
are for sure going to get a. I mean, if we're following the consistent model of things, we're definitely going to get an Elder Scrolls game before we get another Fallout game.
Yeah.
You know, we have yet to really hear anything about a new Elder Scrolls game.
Well, not necessarily, because they did break formula a little bit, because Fallout 3 and New Vegas both came out between Oblivion and Skyrim.
I will say that if we get an Obsidian Fallout game, which won't be Fallout 5, it'll be Fallout something else.
New Orleans.
Yeah, it'll
probably.
be like, Fallout New Orleans or
Please,
something like that.
please, E3 announcements.
Then
E3
in
announcements,
that
please.
case, yeah, we'll probably see another Fallout game, but we will not see Fallout 5 specifically.
I am so upset about so many things right now, guys.
I'm
So
hoping,
upset.
man, Rich is stressed out. I really hope E3 just murders Face this year. I hope it's just like, everybody's got a good project, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Everything's coming out this year.
Yeah,
now.
I have a whole bunch of stuff, because right now Rich is stressed, y'all. He's stressed.
Guys, I'm
He's
gonna
mad.
die. If a Fallout game doesn't come out this year, I'm gonna die. It does.
Well,
prepare for my.
I was gonna say, prepare for the imminent demise of Rich Alvarez,
It's okay.
because I don't think we're getting an Elder Scrolls game
I'll be
this year.
satiated maybe by Wasteland.
Now,
weekend.
that being said, could we perhaps see the announcement of an Elder Scrolls game this year, and that would like be okay for you?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, that's a little more likely. A
Yeah.
little.
I mean, don't forget though, when Fallout 4 came out, they announced it and said it was coming out that
I
same
know,
year.
Bethesda generally waits until pretty close to the tail end of production.
They're like, guess what's coming out? And it's coming out in 4 months! That was the greatest thing ever.
I will say that I will say that I'm consistently impressed with Bethesda's ability to like contain leaks. How many times do you see like a Bethesda project leaked ahead of schedule?
Not a lot.
Yeah, which is interesting because they consistently wait until it is almost ready to say something.
EDMG says, wouldn't the lack of nutrition and social activity from a new Fallout or Elder Scrolls game kill Rich anyway?
Yep, okay, guess what? He's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't.
Rich, when are you going to leave that room? When I have completed every quest 10 times.
Oh, Hockey Song, a good question to end on. BioWare's new game, Anthem, which we have talked about a bit.
But BioWare lately...
So, I will just go ahead and say this, and I think let's get everybody's individual take on Anthem and we'll end the stream on that note. I have seen nothing so far that impresses me about Anthem. Other than the visuals. That game looks strikingly beautiful.
But Andromeda also looked great, but then...
Andromeda did not look great.
Well...
Every single piece of Andromeda reeked of, like, just outsourced garbage to me. Andromeda had some moments in the exploration and sort of the derivative Mass Effect elements of gameplay. I would say that. I would say this. I would love Anthem to be great. I am rooting for Anthem. I will say that. I am 100% on board to live in a world where Anthem is a good game. And Anthem is very interesting. That being said, I have seen nothing so far that really springs from the idea that Anthem would be something remarkable. It looks extremely similar to... I mean, just kind of the rest of the third-person genre. The only trailers that we've seen so far show basically polished and beautiful looking 3D third-person shooter combat, but as set in an implicitly sort of open world environment. But I just haven't seen enough to formulate an opinion, and so far it looks very generic. So I would love Anthem to kick butt, but BioWare, as we know it now, is not BioWare as we have known it in the past.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It's a very, again, the human minds behind a development studio is what contextualizes the value of a brand. And when most of the people that really, really made BioWare what it was are not involved with BioWare anymore, we shouldn't look at BioWare the same way.
Yeah, all the creative geniuses behind, like, Knights of the Old Republic and the first Mass Effect, they're all gone. And also,
there.
another
now,
great...
I hope that the new talent can really pull it together. Again, I want Anthem to be good, but the idea being that, like, oh, the minds behind, or like the team that made this other game really good has reassembled to do this sort of thing under their old brand, that's just not true. Some people are back, but as we saw with a lot of other stuff, that's not going to cut it in of itself.
I just want to shout out to Jade Empire. It's a BioWare game that came out after Knights of the Old Republic, but before Mass Effect, that nobody has ever played except for me, and it was awesome. Did you ever play
Jade Empire? Is the shit.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, little deep cuts right there.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna. Chris, did you have anything to say about BioWare?
I don't, because I never was that big of a BioWare fan.
Well, okay.
So I need to
Didn't really ride that.
We have
aspect
30 seconds.
No,
I just want to say,
I heard Richie complain about it.
Marty Man is asking when is unreleased bloopers coming out. I can't help but feel like he's talking about that other YouTube channel that I run. That's not this one.
The one that we're not on right now.
However, I'll answer it anyway because we're wrapping up here. Because also,
it is relevant.
Crazy Hannah also says I would love a blooper of the Black Friday or the Friday the 13th Black Cat Day sketch. So I will say this. The formula that I am foreseeing for the Rich Alvarez shorts on the Rich Alvarez channel is that we do 4 sketches. So it'll go sketch, 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 sketch. And then on that 5th Friday will be the bloopers from those 4 sketches. And then sketch, 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 sketch. Repeating. So tomorrow...
Blooper.
Yes, Chris, thank you for that visual. So tomorrow you will be getting a blooper
Guess
video.
what? You've got 4 sketches. You're getting a blooper reel.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, tomorrow you're gonna get the bloopers from Snickers, from Bad Guy Garrett, from VR Sketch.
Well, that's tomorrow.
And
Yeah, that's good
yes,
timing.
Chris, thank you.
That's
yes.
actually really good.
That's tomorrow, and you'll also be getting the bloopers from Friday the 13th. And there are a lot of fun bloopers from all of those videos, and I can't wait for y'all to see them tomorrow.
Cool.
But that also means that I'll be getting no sleep tonight and be a horrible zombie.
Someone's got some editing to do.
Oh, jeez, I was about to say, have you started on that yet? Nope.
Nope. Whoops. Okay, but looking through bloopers, well, there's a lot of footage to look through. Hey, fun.
It might go up late tomorrow. It'll go up on Friday, but it might be up late on Friday.
What about SMB bloopers? We're not releasing SMB
Ha!
bloopers.
Good one.
Legacy didn't have a lot of bloopers.
No.
That were worth watching.
Yeah, I didn't make a blooper video for Legacy because it was a lot of us like, oh, stressing out, we can't get this right.
Yeah, there was nothing. Pretty much every good moment in Legacy, in the filming of Legacy, like, made it into Legacy.
Yeah, or there was some bloopers like with Matt, but I already released those in those pre-release videos where I showed like some behind the scenes.
Seen them. There's a few
So you've
scenes
seen
of us
them.
getting hurt filming fight scenes, but there's
Yeah.
like only 2 of those moments. You're not getting an SMB blooper reel. You
All
will
right,
get
guys.
sketch bloopers though.
That's going to do it for us this week on Video Game Talk right here on Video Game Network. Don't forget to like it again, and then you can watch us every Thursday right here on Video Game Network.
I have to lean forward. Okay.
It was fun being a guest. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, it was good to see you, buddy. All right. Take care, y'all.
Bye.